Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making 2 Crockpot Dump Cakes. This video is in collaboration with my good friend Mandee from the channel The Kitchen Wife. She also has a fabulous and beautiful cooking blog, which I'm going to link in the description box below, along with a link to her channel. Also, today I decided to pull out a bold lip because on her Instagram stories, she is always wearing the most beautiful lipstick, so I wore this in her honor. So today we talked about doing a crockpot collaboration because for Mandee, the month of October is actually Crocktober, which I love. I think that's hilarious and such a great theme to use year after year. You can never go wrong with a great crockpot meal. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to try something sweet in my crockpot? Because I've honestly never in my life made a dessert in my crockpot. I use it all the time, but never for anything sweet. So today I'm making 3 different flavors of crockpot dump cakes. And then on Mandee's channel, The Kitchen Wife, she's gonna be sharing a recipe for an incredible cinnamon blueberry breakfast bake. So after you watch this video, go over to her channel and check out her video. So my first step is to spray my crock pot. So I'm just using my canola oil baking spray and I'm gonna spray it down really well just so that the cake mix doesn't stick to the edges. So clearly the name dump cake is not the most glamorous title for a recipe, but the idea is that you're just dumping all the ingredients into either your cake pan if you're gonna bake it or into the bowl of your crock pot, and then it cooks for a couple hours and you're ready to go with an incredible dessert. So today I'm starting with a pumpkin spice dump cake. And I am being a little bit extra today, and I'm gonna top half of it with what is usually used, a vanilla cake mix and some pecans, but I also really wanted to try chocolate cake mix, so I'm gonna do that on the other half. And then later on in the video, I'm gonna share with you a pear and cranberry spice dump cake too. So into the bottom of my crock pot, I am dumping 2 15-ounce cans of pumpkin puree, and then I'm going to sweeten and season it up. Now, if you have 1 large can of pumpkin pie filling, you can just go ahead and use that, and you don't have to add any sugar or spices. But since this is just plain puree, I am gonna sweeten it up a little bit. Next, I'm gonna sprinkle in a half a cup of white granulated sugar and also a half a cup of brown sugar. I really like the combination of both of those together, especially that little bit of richness and almost caramely flavor from the brown sugar. So we'll add in both of those. And then also I'm adding 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And I actually just filmed a video where I shared a recipe for homemade pumpkin pie spice, so I will definitely link that for you below. And then I'm just gonna take a whisk and gently whisk this all together so it's nice and incorporated. So we're kind of making our own homemade pumpkin pie filling. Now, most likely when you make this, you're just gonna choose 1 flavor of cake mix. But my next step is to sprinkle it over the top. So I have half a box of yellow cake mix here that I'll sprinkle over half of the pumpkin mixture. And then the other half, it'll be, I think this is a devil's food cake mix, just because I really wanna try both flavors. But for you, whatever flavor you choose, just sprinkle it all over the top. Next, I have 1 stick of unsalted butter, which I melted, and I'm just gonna drizzle that all over the top, nice and evenly, so that all of that cake mixture absorbs the moisture of the butter. So the classic topping for the vanilla pumpkin spice dump cake is typically pecan. So I have a 1/4 cup here that I chopped up myself, and I'm just gonna sprinkle them over top. So my last step is to put the lid on and then set this on high heat for 2 hours, and dessert will be ready to go. So it's a little later on, and I just wanted to give each of these desserts a taste for you on camera, just to let you know what I think. The house smells amazing. It kind of smells like a pumpkin pie was baking for a couple of hours in here. I thought the chocolate pumpkin version of the dessert was kind of a fun twist. I've never seen anybody use the chocolate cake mix, and also it's Halloween time, so I thought using orange and black would be a fun color combination. And then that vanilla cake with the pecans and the pumpkin filling is just the classic kind of pumpkin spice dump cake that you see all over Pinterest. So I'm excited to dig into both of these flavors. Now, of course, with any dump cake, you have to top it either with whipped cream or vanilla ice cream or both. I'm not here to judge about that. That's probably a good decision, actually. So for this one tonight, I just put a little bit of whipped cream out of a can on top, and I'm gonna dive right in. So this is the chocolate pumpkin version. I knew this was gonna be an amazing flavor combination, the chocolate with the pumpkin, because my absolute favorite fall dessert is my pumpkin chocolate chip cake squares. And I have done a recipe video for those, so I'll leave that link down below. But this is a close second. It is so kind of like gooey and comforting and very rich and sweet, but also it has those nice warm spices from the pumpkin pie spice. It's really, really good. And like I said, whipped cream or ice cream on top, it's kind of counterintuitive. The Pioneer woman always says this, but that cool creaminess kind of cuts through the richness of the dessert. It's the perfect combination. It is so, so good. Okay, so now I'm gonna try the vanilla version. So I have a little bit here. It's actually my daughter's leftovers from dessert, but I'm gonna sneak another taste of this one. Okay, so we'll get some of the vanilla cake. And I love those crispy little pecans too. Adds a nice crunch. The yellow cake mix has a really nice, subtle saltiness to it that pairs really well with the rich, sweet pumpkin pie mix. So this, I can understand why it's kind of the classic go-to combination because it is such a perfect pairing. Okay, well my first two flavors of dump cakes turned out absolutely delicious. So let's go on to the next one. For the Pear Cranberry Spice dump cake, I started again with 1 stick of unsalted butter that I melted in the microwave, and then I used a spice cake mix and a different method this time than with my first two dump cakes. I actually added the mix directly into the butter and then stirred it together with a fork. Now, technically, we're dirtying an additional bowl with this, but in the end, we loved the almost streusel-like texture of this spice cake crumb topping. Then I sprayed the inside of my crock pot and I added 2 cans, they were 15-ounce cans of pear slices just in their juice. And I had drained them, but I reserved the liquids because I thought in the end I would have to add some extra liquid for cooking, and I did. Next, I sprinkled in a 1/4 cup of dried cranberries. And don't these look so beautiful? I love adding cranberries to any dish. And then for a little sweetness, I sprinkled in 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now, despite the fact that I was using a spice cake for the topping, I wanted to season the pear layer too, so I did sprinkle on a little bit of cinnamon, and then I added about 1/3 of the reserved liquids from my canned pears. Lastly, I sprinkled the spice cake and butter mixture evenly all over the top. Just like my other 2 dump cakes, I put a lid on top, and then I cooked this on high for about 2 hours. Now, my husband and I really enjoyed both of the pumpkin spice dump cakes that I made, but this pear cranberry spice flavor was our hands down favorite. And you can see we topped it with some fresh whipped cream this time, and I also had a serving with some vanilla ice cream.
It's really good.
Thank you so much to Mandee, aka the Kitchen Wife, for collaborating with me today. Please, please check out her blog. It is awesome, super professional. She has tons and tons of awesome recipes, not only for Crocktober, which is great, but for year-round cooking. They're just super accessible and delicious, and you just have to go check her out. I'll leave all of Mandee's information linked in the description box below. If you're here visiting from Mandee's channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the recipes I shared with you today. Thank you so much for joining me here today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe.